is deep yet full of jest. Come on in, you found the best. Between two giants here you'll find wit and wisdom intertwined, laughs and knowledge hand in hand. This is the show that's in command.
Okay.
Yeah.
They haven't shut us off yet.
No, seriously, the internet will not silence us.
That's correct.
Nor will they listen.
Suck it, Zuck.
Nice try, Bezos. Bezos.
Bazoos? I don't think that's right.
Bonzo.
That's correct.
There it is.
Right.
There
I
it
think
is.
that's a lead singer for you, too.
No, that's Bono.
Oh.
Minus the Z.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's kind of bozo.
Yeah, doesn't have a crazy eye either. Bezo? I don't know. He wears the glasses. You can't really tell.
Oh, that's right.
That's probably why. What if he has two?
Maybe he's a robot.
Holy shit. We got to get him on the show.
Correct.
Do you guys remember when U2 came out with that album and they made it for free on Apple Music?
Oh, you mean they forced it on people?
Yeah.
Right.
So now if you open Apple Music,
That's like there.
might be the first album. I think there should be a class action lawsuit about that.
I think
maybe.
you're right.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Or we could just take them out.
Yeah, or just,
I know
just,
people.
Just use Spotify. Like
People in the IRA. We can just make them go away.
Another very quick story about U2. When I was a teenager, I had a boyfriend, and we were at Denny's, and it was me and my best friend and him, and he just randomly out of nowhere said, "I love U2," and I was like,
Okay, I didn't even
That's so
say it. I
kind.
didn't even say it first.
and then it kept me going for a long time in our relationship. Well, remember that time he just randomly said, "I love you too," and then years later he told me that U2 was playing. And he could not tell us.
That had to be really awkward at
Because we
the
both
altar.
went, "Aw."
Yeah, how do you can't get out of that.
No. Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Get
that's
another
true.
reason they suck.
Yeah, honestly. Anyways, enough about you two. Not you two.
I do love U2 though.
Band.
I meant U2,
sweet.
not U2.
No, not the band.
Oh, okay, because my heart fluttered. All right, well, we're here again. We have a really awesome guest, Lindsey King, who
Hello.
everybody knows because
Well, everybody, not everybody. In the
look,
neighborhood knows.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Not
Okay.
yet, but they will.
Oh,
Yeah,
snap.
That's your first
right.
previews, and get ready. You heard it
Shot
here
across
first,
the
folks.
bow.
Yeah. You know who else knows about her? You two.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we done with the
I
YouTube
think
jokes?
we're-
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we moved on.
Probably good, yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry. Just listen to your mom talk for a while. So I'm kind of
It was a
like,
lot.
Oof.
You get some PTSD.
Yeah, I do. So we brought King on here because A, she's awesome. B, we wanted to have her on for a while. And C, she just had a really cool story drop on the newest Phoenix New Times, a little segment called The Ghost of, how do you say it?
Seligman.
Seligman. It's just a really hard word to
Do you
read.
live here?
I don't not.
You know where
there.
Seligman is?
No.
It's a very
there.
small town.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that where that's not where the Cars movie was filmed, was it? Or they got the inspiration from?
It's
hold
on
on.
Route 66. Yeah.
It is. It's
Okay.
where they
It's
look.
not okay. I'm just saying it's not where the Cars movie was filmed.
No, fair. It's where the inspiration for the movie Cars came from.
There you go. Your mom would be so much prouder of that sentence.
In the story, Stephen Lemon says a passing motorist could inhale upon entering Seligman and not have to let out a breath before rolling out the other end. That's
It's tiny.
There's
Yeah.
about 450 people that live in the town.
That's crazy.
Seems
the
like a
speed
lot.
limit's like 15, and you can still do that.
There's no
Hold your
speed
breath.
limit. How fast can a horse run? That's the speed limit.
Nice. Well, it's an interesting story we're going to talk about here. Let King kind of tell her story. She's actually going to be on the radio as well soon. When are you going to be on the radio telling about a little more about this?
So I'm going to be on the KTAR morning show with my private investigator, Kelly Waldrop, on
Nice.
June 16th.
Okay, June 16th.
Yeah.
And that, what do you know what the frequency is on that one? Is it a 1430 or is it a 98.6?
KTAR?
KTAR.
I don't know if I
I don't know.
I don't know.
Nobody
Okay, so
knows.
I don't
pull
know.
out your
I just
pocket
show up.
computer
Yeah.
and get down. Oh, Michael's looking it up on his pocket computer.
That's correct. 92.3 FM.
92.
Oh, 90. Okay, yeah, 90.
And what time?
I know that we're doing like an hour segment, like maybe for 12 minutes, starting from 2 p.m. to 3, maybe.
Okay. So somewhere
yeah,
between there.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like a live with a
they
little
may-
bit of time, so I don't know when it'll air for sure.
They may
but-
tape it and then
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
like we do.
Yeah, I don't know how radio works. I'm a podcaster, bro. Well, anyway, so we brought her on here. I want to talk about this. This cool story came out. Not a cool story, but it's like an interesting story about her family and some things that happened. It's a nice read. You should check it out. Check out your recent New Times magazine. This one came out. It's like the May through June 4th edition. That came out here just like a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so Lindsay's on here. We're kind of not going to do a normal format here. We're not going to ask what her favorite, bobby pin is or anything like that. No, we don't.
Favorite bobby pin?
I know. Sorry, we have
Favorite bobby pin?
I don't know.
I like-
Anyone I can find
Yeah.
on my floor.
Yeah,
Really?
seriously.
Yeah.
I'm a hair tie guy myself, but
Scrunchies.
so tell us a little bit about this. How did you find the private investigator? What's going on with the story here?
Paint the picture.
Yeah, paint the picture because we are just not interesting.
We're not painters.
Okay. When I was 18, my dad had disappeared. He was living in a small town called Seligman. I hadn't seen him in maybe 3 years. He had some addiction problems and mental health issues. So it was kind of at a time in my life that he kind of had this mental break where it was a lot of changes. And I remember as a kid, I didn't really know exactly what was going on with him, but I always was very close with my dad growing up. And he was always really into aliens, sci-fi. He would tell me stories about growing up and his family and how he had out-of-body experiences a lot as a kid. I was always just very interested in all of that. He was never he wasn't like a normal dad. I mean, he had a motorcycle, he had a Corvette,
It's only a cool dad.
he smoked Marlboro Lights.
Nice.
Sounds
He
like
drove a
Uncle
truck.
Rico.
I always thought he was just cool, funny, kind of a jerk sometimes, but I would talk shit to him and he loved that. So, and then all of a sudden he was just not around. And I would hear little things like, oh, he shaved his head because there was bugs living in his hair, or he's on drugs. And so as a kid, I was just picking up on the little things that I heard. And I also took every opportunity I could to see him growing up. So then when I was 18, I hadn't seen him in a while. I mean, at that age, 3 years of your life is such a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember feeling well, I don't know if I'm ever going to see him again, or I don't know what's going on with him.
And where were you living at the time?
I was living in North Phoenix, I-17 Happy Valley area. We had moved there after my mom met my stepdad and had my sister, and
Nice.
yeah, so one day I'm in high school and I ran into my cousin in the office and he was like, I can't believe that about your dad. And I was like, oh my God.
What?
I was like, what?
Yeah, cool. Can you share?
He was like, well, no one's heard from him in 2 weeks.
Oh, boy.
And I was like, oh my God, I thought you were going to say he was dead.
Yeah.
And he said, well, we think he is.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, okay.
Okay, cool. How
it's
did you get this
yeah.
info before me, motherfucker?
It's a weird thing, when you haven't seen someone in a long time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not an open conversation all the time.
Yeah.
And, so I honestly, I remember not knowing how to feel about
Yeah.
it. I was like, am I allowed to fall apart right now? Or am I not? I don't know. So
Yeah.
I called my mom, she picked me up, and I called my aunt, and she said that he had been missing for 2 weeks. They had been going down there. They didn't want to tell any of us yet until they knew more.
Jeez.
I was just about to graduate high school, and I think my family knew, that it would be hard
Not
for
the
me.
right time.
Not the right time, yeah. So we ended up going up to Seligman, putting out missing person flyers, trying to contact the woman that my dad had been living on her property and dating off and on for the past few years. And it was just really right away, no one wanted to communicate with us, really.
I want to answer questions.
No.
I don't know. I ain't seen him.
Yeah.
And so just so people to know, Seligman's really tiny.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
400, 500 people, something like that.
So they did the Cars movie.
That's right.
Sorry.
So the night before my dad disappeared, he drove his truck onto the train tracks in Seligman, which is a weird thing that I always
Yeah.
knew when I was, and I think at some point he had said that he thought he could travel back in time if he got hit by a train.
Wow.
But when he drove his truck on the train tracks and it broke down, it wasn't an active train track,
Yeah. It was just,
Figurative.
yeah.
but his car broke down there and he had to get it towed. The next day he went to get it out and he didn't have enough money, and I think he was walking home. The person, Bill Wilkins, that Stephen talks about in the article, is the last person to for sure see him alive.
See him.
He picked him up and drove him home at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Dang.
But then, yeah, he was just never seen again. And he didn't take his phone. He didn't take his keys, his cigarette. He had a cowboy hat that he wore all the time. He left behind. And
What's in the truck? On the tracks, or?
I don't know. No.
Oh.
No. That's another thing. They talk about that in the article. There's like different stories. At first, she found his cell phone and everything in his truck. Then she says it was in his trailer. She reported him missing the next day, which was weird because he did have, a tendency to like take off for a little while.
Yeah.
He
What
went on
year
a
was
lot of
this?
long walks. 2006.
Okay.
Yeah. So, my family, his brothers and sisters, my grandma, they hired psychics. They, really hounded the Yavapai police. Like they really pissed them off, I think.
Yeah.
They're very pushy for good reason.
Yeah, for wanting answers.
For wanting answers, yeah. And then, of course, just how life goes. Eventually people have to like get on with their lives. And
Yeah.
also when someone disappears who has mental health issues, drug issues, a lot of times people think, okay, well, who cares?
Yeah.
And that's something that as I've been looking into this for the past couple years and learning more about my dad's life and what he went through and who he was, and just there wasn't a lot of support for like the issues that he had.
Yeah.
And it's sad in our society that people who have these issues, who a lot of times have been abused, are just kind of thrown away. Because a lot of them are really smart, kind, sensitive people who have gone through hardships and just needed like safe support, someone to listen, is what I've kind of come to. But anyway, so about 2 years ago, working at the Main Ingredient, I met a private investigator named Kelly Waldrop. He would come in from time to time, and we all had like theories that he was investigating some random regular.
Oh boy.
Everyone was suspect at the time.
And Michael got away with it.
It was me. I
It was
did it.
Michael. No, but he wasn't. It's just one of those things. Like as a bartender, I'm serving someone, especially working there for so long,
Yeah.
seeing the same people all the time. Like you develop these like close relationships. Like obviously Brian, I've known for 13 years, and he's like the person I call if I
Yeah.
when things are messed up, So a couple years into knowing Kelly, we found out that I went to high school with his daughter.
That's crazy.
Or not high school, I think it was elementary school. We just had all these like things in common, and we became friends. And he spends a lot of time in LA, so he was out here. I hadn't seen him maybe in a while, and I said, well, what have you been up to? And he said, just looking for people who don't want to be found. And I said,
Classic move.
yeah. And I said, well, have I ever told you that my dad is a missing person? And he was like, no. Tell me about it. And I had gotten like the files a few years before, and so I knew like the details from the police and the private investigator we hired, all the psychic stuff. I filled him in, and he said, well, that sounds interesting. Like, I've been wanting to drive up north. I would look into that for you.
Nice.
Very exciting. I was like, really?
Yeah, like awesome.
Wow.
What's your drink?
I'm like, I'm the kind of person, I don't really ask anybody for anything.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? So right away he drove down there. He talked to people. He talked to the Yavapai police. He got in contact with the daughter, who we've always known was somehow involved.
Yeah. How long ago was this though? Like after the 06, and then to when did he start looking into it?
2023, December
Okay, so a couple
2023.
years. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a dig deep.
And there was a lot of time in that where, we're emailing the police, we're
Yeah.
waiting for someone to get back to us, we're asking questions, we're getting together with my aunts and uncles, and he's interviewing them, and he interviews me, but the real turn was when we finally got into contact with Brenda. At first, she called Kelly and didn't know what it was about. And when he
Yeah.
told her, she was like, yeah, I mean, that was my mom's boyfriend. I wasn't living here at the time, but my mom always said he just got up and left one day. But after that phone call, she ran into a friend, like a neighbor, and she made a joke like, oh, the cops are talking to me, or the cops are trying to talk to me. The FBI wants to talk to me.
Jeez.
And the friend said, what is it about? And she said, about Keith King. And the friend said, oh, did they find his body?
Oh.
Very quickly.
Oh.
And so Brenda was like, what do you mean? And she said,
Wrong answer, McFly.
before your mom told me that there was a fight and that he was shot. And the person who shot him made her help him chop my dad's body up and dispose of it in a septic tank. And she said this story was told to her maybe a year before Karen died.
Wow.
Because Karen did die shortly before Kelly and I started looking into this. She did kind of die under weird circumstances. She had been in the hospital for 5 days and had only been home for 2 hours
And then died.
and then dead. Well, she sent her daughter a text that said 911.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so then she got there and she was dead. There's no autopsy. She just bought a 6-pack of beer and a pack of smokes. And Brenda felt like she would not have died before she drank that and smoked those.
Yeah, I mean, why waste?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I mean, I wouldn't, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. Then, Kelly and I been, talking constantly. He comes into the bar, visits me. We catch each other up on what we both are doing. I developed a relationship with Brenda. She's awesome. She's like a great person, and she's been through so much in her life, and she was so like ready and willing to tell the truth and to like help me. She's been
cool.
so kind, and so that's been nice. But, it's been almost 2 years, and this is after 18 years of waiting. And when you have a family member who is a missing person,
time's
it's
important.
weird because it's like you never really get like to start moving on.
Yeah.
You always think, oh, am I going to wake up one day and get a phone call?
Yeah.
Are they going to find his body?
Closure.
Is there going to be something someday?
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of drove me nuts because I'm the kind of person
sure.
who wants to know
It's gotta
the
be the
truth.
worst. Yeah.
Did you feel that once? I'm sorry, Matt. Is that the PI?
Kelly.
Kelly. I'm sorry, Matt.
That's
I don't know. Did you feel like there was legitimacy is not the right word, but did people take it more seriously once he came around and started asking questions to people, like the police or witnesses?
I think so. One thing that happened early on is they never really interviewed, the police never really interviewed the people.
Really?
Like really had,
Never
they
asked
never like sat
questions?
down, and I think that
Get
that
their
was like the
story?
one thing missing. Because
Yeah.
I think if they would have interviewed and asked more questions, they probably would have, this
Yeah.
case is pretty solvable. I mean, sometimes it kind of feels like it's an open secret in
Mall of
town
a
what
town.
happened.
Yeah. That's crazy. And like when Kelly they got to reach out to police, like, can you just request that and just get a full blown police report?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So Kelly was able to get the whole police report. I did already have like copies of that I had read. The private investigator that my family hired, he ended his investigation saying he thought there was foul play.
Yeah.
And thought that these people needed to be questioned more
Yeah. While they were alive.
while they were alive. Yeah.
That's crazy. So like they will give that out. Like did they have like did they talk to anybody at all or ask any questions of anyone, or like was it just like meh?
I mean, they didn't do like any official interviews.
Really?
They talked to Karen and asked, and they searched by helicopter an area that she told them to search. That maybe my dad went hiking, and
Did he hike a lot?
he went on long walks
Okay.
because he was,
Yeah.
struggling.
Yeah.
Another thing in the last couple years, I found this like 6-page psych evaluation of my dad that I never knew existed.
Oh boy.
And reading that was very like eye-opening. It made me like there was things that happened in his life that I never even knew about.
Yeah.
And it made me look back, and when you're a kid, you don't really know everything,
Yeah.
all
You're
the
12.
truth.
You're not really into your parents' psyche.
Yeah, you're just kind of like putting things together. And I've
Yeah.
always been the kind of person who like pays attention, analyzes, tries to make sense of everything
Yeah.
around me. But a few years ago, my brother started to have similar symptoms that my dad was showing. And when that happened, like living through that and experiencing all of that, it made me understand what happened to my dad a little better.
Yeah.
And when I started looking into finding him with Kelly, I kept saying like, maybe if I can like find out what happened to my dad, like maybe I can help my brother.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't realize, I think at the time I was like, how do those things connect? But somehow through all of this, the understanding that I have now of like my brother's experience, my dad's experience, a lot of people's experience is like so much clearer. And I don't know if I'm ever going to get like actual justice.
Yeah.
I don't know if the person who I believe killed my dad is going to go to prison.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that my dad's life was worth more
Yeah.
than that. That wasn't the end of his story.
Yeah, for sure.
He was like larger than life, and he was funny and kind and smart, and he deserved so much better. I think all people deserve better.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we said earlier about closure, the person may or may not be found. If they are found and maybe they're not alive anymore or whatever, it still provides the family with some all right, now we know definitively this is what happened, and we can not move on, but you reconcile that, right?
Yeah, and right away it was classified as a missing person case, not like a suspicious death or anything like that. So that was another part of it is growing up, when people ask, well, where's your dad? Do you see your dad? It's like, oh, my dad died when I was 18. How did he die? Well, I think we're pretty sure he was murdered, but he's considered a missing person.
Yeah.
So you don't know if he's really dead.
Yeah.
Well, I know he's dead because we would have found his body.
Yeah.
He wouldn't go on a hike in flip-flops without his cowboy hat and leave his cigarettes. Never touch any of his stuff again. I know that, but it's hard when people are, oh, well, you don't know for sure. And then you have to do this whole thing.
Okay, look at
okay. So...
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's a small town, 425 some people. What's the police? Is there is there a sheriff or who is the authority that would handle something like this in that small of a town? It's
it's in Yavapai County.
Okay.
I think there is a sheriff in town.
Okay.
But it's just like any small town when everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
And some of the people in this story are kind of bigger names.
Oh, okay.
That have more power. So it always felt okay.
Don't ruin our tiny town where people stop on their way through Route 66 and buy their, granola and whatnot.
Cars. Yeah. And
cars.
also,
reference.
On top of that, there's so many missing people.
In that town?
In Seligman.
Really?
Seligman is kind of a dumping ground for bodies, so they have so many cases to look through.
That's unusual.
And one sheriff?
Yeah. Yavapai looks over, and I went to talk with them, I think, at the end of February, just to, find out. Because I went in there and I'm like, listen, I don't have a lot of faith in our justice system. I'm a millennial. I'm on TikTok.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you're not going to dig up the septic tank, if you're not going to question these people, am I going to sit here and be afraid to say anything wrong or give out any information and ruin a case that probably will never come to fruition?
Yeah.
That was kind of what I was trying to ask, and it was contradictory. It was just be patient, but also this is all the stuff we have to do in order to do this. So.
And what's stopping you? Be patient. Are they starting on that project? They have to remove the septic tank from Earth. They can't just go sifting around in it because it's a buried septic tank, right?
Yes, and they have permission to dig up the septic tank. It's going to cost some money, but
how much?
And that's another thing. I said, can we pay for it?
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that want to know.
Yeah.
We could, but he did make it sound like it wasn't about money. It was more about not wanting to go into this without being sure.
It all comes down to money. Hey, does someone own the house now where it's at?
It's a huge piece of property, and the original owner sold it maybe a couple years ago.
Okay.
So there's 2 septic tanks on the property, and one of them has been pumped and the other one has not. And the other one is the one that was by the trailer that my dad lived in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a really good chance. But they would do they just pump it, or they have to remove it from Earth to be able to get in there and see if there's any bones?
I think it's a whole thing where they dig it up, they bring it somewhere, they sift through it.
Yeah. That just seems
if there's a bullet in it, you could maybe find it.
Right.
This day and age, it seems hey, if people really want to know, a couple thousand people give $10 to a GoFundMe, you could cover the cost of doing that. And I don't know if it gets it reimbursed cops when they're doing an investigation. They've been all right, we solved the murder. That'll be $714,000.
Right.
If you wanted to do it, your person, but hey, seems there's a lot of things that happen where people go out there, and then I don't know if there's ever a bill that the cops hand you while they're solving a murder.
I didn't want to wait. I waited to see if they were going to question Brenda or her friend or anyone, and they weren't.
They just didn't.
She had all these electronics of her mom's from the past few years, and they knew about him. They wanted her to drop him off at like the substation, but she didn't feel comfortable doing that. So she ended up actually bringing them all to me. So I got all of her mom's electronics.
Find anything interesting or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like what?
I mean, just after like so long.
Yeah,
after,
I mean, 06, there wasn't a ton
it's
of.
It's been
you know.
19. Well, it wasn't from 06. It was more like 2018, I think, is when the phone was from. But there were pictures of my dad. There were screenshots of his missing person thing on the internet. Like
from a long time ago.
Some searches that were interesting. There were a lot of texts from the day that she passed away. Like, you know, feeling better, getting out of the hospital. Like a lot of that stuff.
Almost feels like you should have your own podcast and we should be a guest on yours.
I never shut up.
No, I'm just saying.
Just
I mean, like, this is a good murder mystery story. Like, go through the whole thing with it. You know. Like,
I'm interested in the time, right? So it happened 2006, 2007.
2006, he disappeared. I think for probably the first like 8 months, my family, his brothers and sisters, my aunts and uncles, and my grandma were really going up there and trying to find out. My Grammy, I have letters that she wrote to like advocates to help. At one point, my Grammy, she worked at the Capitol. She was a assistant for like a politician.
Nice.
She went to a floor one day that she didn't usually go to. And this woman leaned out of her cubicle and said, "Do you have a son that was murdered?"
What?
And she said, "I have a son that's missing. We think he was murdered." And she said, "Okay, well, I'm like a kind of a psychic, but I think that..."
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then she wrote this long letter I have a copy of. And I don't know if she drew the composite, but I have a composite sketch of a potential suspect that she drew. But I'm reading back all these psychic accounts of what happened, and some of them are pretty close to like what we believe happened.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
crazy.
So even if you chalk it up to 2010, let's just call it 2010. So even 2010 to now, people have either passed or memories have faded, or they're more likely to say, "Oh yeah, I'm ready to talk about whatever." You know, I think that much time passes. Small town, like you were saying earlier, people probably knew and kept it close. But now so much time has passed, the people have passed, as I said. They're maybe more likely to be like, "Yeah, you know what, after all, you know, whatever, you know, Jim Bob or whatever the hell. Take a look at him."
Yeah, no, they're not scared. The people might have been scared to not speak. You know,
Right.
Like they're gone now. He's like, that's crazy. What is like your? I know you go on the radio here in a few days, but what's like your next steps here to try and like get them to pull the tank and go through it, or what's your plan to get to the bottom of this, or just more of an awareness and?
I think throughout this whole thing, I've just realized talking about things openly, saying the truth. I mean, our whole world is so kind of fucked up, I feel.
That's true.
And a lot of it is people thinking, stay away from weird people, have your boundaries, keep yourself safe. And that's true. A lot of people do need that. Like, they need to be safe. A lot of people have gone through so much. But some people need to speak up and tell the truth if they can and be open. And so since this all happened, I left the main ingredient. I've been spending a lot of time with like some friends that I've made over the years that do have like issues like schizoaffective disorder or, have addiction issues. And in the past, I would get like a lot of crap for like having all these friends that are like so out there.
From your friends?
From my family, from my friends, just people. And it makes sense. But
people give me a lot of shit for hanging out with Michael once a week.
It's appropriate.
Yeah. But really what I've realized is there's so many people that are struggling with mental health issues, with addiction, because they have been used by other people to cope. And then when those people start to cope by self harm or drinking, smoking, then they're shamed for it. And I'm watching this happen, and I'm watching like who I am, who I always have been, as somebody that I'm not very judgmental. I like weird people. Like
Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. I like interesting people.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
they have
be
good
normal.
stories. And so I've been...
And they're real.
They're real. They're not... I mean, at some point when you are a person that wants to tell the truth and wants to stand up for stuff all the time and people are like, just shut up.
Yeah.
Like you're causing an issue, like don't rock the boat. Those people eventually are going to have to decide between living in this reality that they don't align with or like living in their own reality where they're going to go dance in front of a gas station and whatever.
Yeah.
So for the past few days, I've done some things like dance in front of a gas station. And I
Which one? Oh, that was you at the Shell.
Oh, that was the TikTok I saw.
I was like, Lindsay is smashing that move. But you had like the TikTok thing going with the stand-up camera. And no.
Oh yeah, and just living,
Yeah.
just being yourself, just not being scared to talk to people, to talk to people who might be a little out there. I mean, some of the most out there people I've known have learned so much from.
Yeah. There's this something about freeing about just like not giving a shit what anyone else thinks and doing just what makes you feel good. Been there, done that a few times. Like, you're weird. I'm like, yeah, you know what? But I'm not like, I'm just going to be me and I'm enjoying the moment. And I just, these little things like for something like my life, like, hey, how's your day going? I'm like, absolutely fantastic. Like at a gas station or something versus being like, it's good. How are you? Da-da-da-da-da. Super duper. Say some just weird shit that I know no one else is going to say during their day. And it just makes people like super duper. I'm like, hey, I'm the one interaction you probably had that wasn't just like, oh, pretty good. How are you today?
Yeah, and just that small thing can change somebody's entire trajectory, of their day.
Yeah.
And I have always wanted to talk to people, hear their stories. I mean, working at TMI, I realized I wasn't trying to run a restaurant. I was trying to write a comedy show, maybe. I do.
Yeah.
And I did it for 13 years, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
and I've met the most amazing, incredible people.
yeah.
I built a family that accepted me, loved me. I've grown up. When I started working there, I was
4
years old. I was super awkward.
The diapers are really inconvenient.
I was scared of everyone. I was hiding in the hallway,
Yeah.
wiping down baseboards, like me, please.
Yeah, I love it. Like, you're kind of weird. And thank you. Just don't tell me I'm normal, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who wants to be like everybody else, dude?
Right.
It's pointless, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Be you.
So I met this guy, Jasper, recently at my friend Sunji's house, who lives in the neighborhood. It's, pretty infamous. She likes to take pictures of people
Oh, okay.
and dance. And so there's been regulars at TMI that are like, there was this Chinese woman that came up to me and she had pictures of you on her phone.
Yeah,
That's my
dancing
friend
in front of a
Sunji.
gas station.
I love her.
That checks out.
So I met her new roommate, Jasper, and he told me I looked like a Kardashian. So then I, of course, liked him
You're
right
like,
away.
I love you.
Yeah.
You're my new best
and then he
friend.
was like, take me to my halfway house to get my salt lamps and my mushroom this and this. And I was like, I'm not taking you anywhere.
yeah.
Take a shower.
Yeah.
And he was like, please. And he was just so funny. We were having so much fun. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll take you.
Okay, let's go.
So we go to this halfway house. I walk in there. There's all these men just wasting away in there. And I am like, sorry for busting in here. You guys had to live with this guy. Does he ever shut up? And they're like, no.
No.
And then
Oh, he's back? Why you
Yeah.
thought
We're here.
and he's like, well, that guy was smoking this the other day. And I'm like, well, what else is he supposed to do? Does anyone ever come talk to you
Yeah.
guys? And they said no. And they were all so kind. And so since then, Jasper and I have been trying to do fun things to just brighten people's days.
Yeah.
We went and brought them snacks the other day. I'm probably going to go sing for them soon.
Nice.
nice.
Recite poetry.
Encore. Encore.
Get it.
I can drive around with Jasper in my car and sing at the top of my lungs, and he doesn't say shut up.
Yeah. And he's just all like, man, finally someone's a better singer than me.
Yeah.
I can't wait to be a backup singer.
Yeah, he's like, oh, look, there's a gas station. Let's go dance.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I'm glad you're where you're at with your, life and doing your thing. And this article is super, super awesome that finally got. I know you've been working on this for years and years to get this kind of to where it's at. So, I mean, anything else you'd want to share about this? You're going to be on the radio show. Anything else people could reach out or help or get info out there, that we could help, make this more public for you.
Yeah, so I'll be on the radio. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's Lindsey King, WINDSEYKING. I'm really trying to put myself out there right now and get some traction, just because I really do want to spread the love that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do something to make people's lives more positive.
Yeah.
And like you said, like just talking to someone like can brighten their day. Just asking someone how they are. Like me and Jasper just bringing like pizzas to these guys and hanging out with them. Like they might wake up tomorrow and feel more motivated to like, you know, heal. Like my friend Jasper, we've been friends for a week and I've watched him like grow.
Yeah.
Not like because of me, but just because he's having fun, you know, and people are listening, you know, like my friend Sunji, I never really had a lot of time to like talk to her. And I sometimes didn't even know if she could understand me. Now we just talk and talk and talk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's little things. You see people like, I really like your shirt. I really like your hat. They'll drop those every once in a while. And people like just one little drop of a compliment. They're just like, thank you. I'm like, I don't even like that fucking hat, you know? But it's just, it just makes them feel good.
Well, yeah, they have to be genuine compliments.
Oh, no, I mean, I was joking.
Or else you're like
really
Regina George.
Yeah. It's always people like, I love your undershirt. You know, I can't even see it. No, I'm just kidding. But
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then also the cherry on top of all that is that my brother's doing really well
Good.
right now too. So yeah, so
Everything's rolling.
just follow me. I'm gonna be singing karaoke online.
You never know. You never know.
Who
where
knows
it'll
what I'm
be
gonna do
at.
next?
Hey, you know, it'd be like hot air ballooning. You can see it happen. But check out the New Times. You know, the ghost of Seligman.
The Ghost of Seligman.
I said it.
Yeah.
I did it.
You did it.
Yeah, it's really good. It's old Route 66 town, a missing man, and maybe a body in a septic tank by Stephen Lemons. So
Yes.
check it out.
Amazing
while it's
Stephen
hot.
Lemons.
Yeah, it's a really, really good article. It's a couple pages long. It's got good pictures and whatnot, but obviously New Times is great. Everyone loves it. It's got American Spirits ads in it, which is, you know, this throwback to...
It's handy.
Yeah, it's handy in case you're wondering
Tobacco and water.
which cigarette you want to buy. Go American Spirits because I don't know if they're...
They're not a sponsor.
No, oh, that's right. That's right.
Not
but if
yet.
you'd like to, yes,
true.
yes, so far. So, yeah, well, thanks for coming on and telling your story. Check out the radio edition, probably on the podcast or internet.
That's going to be better
somehow.
than this
Oh yeah, duh.
because they're professionals and we're not.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to run the
She's
show
going to be great,
either way.
but we're not.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I'll give you a shout out though.
No.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know how we can do it, and we can add little notes once it's out. We can add links and everything to our podcast.
Okay,
So,
yeah, awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
so cool.
Thanks, Linz.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
guys. Are you gonna ask me a stupid question? Just one?
One.
One.
All right. Let's think. I know we have a lot of them.
Well, it's your favorite. She, based on her past experience, you could ask
The
it.
cure. I mean, it's a really good question. So, what is your best hangover cure?
Green chili stew at the main ingredient.
Oh,
Really?
shout out!
That's the second
dude.
time that's come up.
That is
The green chili
second
stew,
time.
it really is, depending on if you're throwing up, because you have to wait till you stop throwing up to eat it because it's too spicy.
That's probably not good to eat while you're throwing up.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's a
But,
fight,
yeah.
you know, in and out.
Get in. No, get out.
Oh, god damn it! Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes it's a little spicier depending on the season. When it gets a little up
Right.
there, summer is hotter, just like
Yeah.
most spicy places.
I could tell
They're
Lindsay's not a person that would have said, "Don't drink."
good. Yeah,
We've had that before, and that's not great.
Okay, shut the fuck up and get off my podcast.
Right. Very Poppins.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
green chili stew. Do you ever would you recommend it just straight up or in the burrito form?
Either way, but like, I mean, many days I came to work hungover and then ate like a cup of green chili,
And then-
some corn tortillas, and then I was like, okay, I'm fine. I'll survive
and
this.
then worked an 8-hour shift.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I was there.
Yeah, and then Brian was there. Yeah.
I was like, oh, Lindsay had a rough one. She's having her green
Yeah.
chili stew again. Nice. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate it. Okay, bye.
Step right up to the wildest show where two big minds are ready to blow. Conversations deep yet full of jest. Come on in, you found the best. Between two giants here you'll find wit and wisdom intertwined. Laughs and knowledge hand in hand. This is the show that's in command. Tall and talking, big in brains, making sense of life's wild lanes. Deep dive chats and fun remain. Bet you won't hear this on the plane. Between two giants here you'll find wit and wisdom intertwined. Laughs and knowledge hand in hand. This is the show that's in command. Two giants here you'll find wit and wisdom intertwined. Laughs and knowledge hand in hand. This is the show that's in command. No stone unturned, no joke too small.